All right. Well, we are back and we are continuing our discussion about Marvel, although we left it off by saying we're going to be talking mostly in this episode about Spider-Man. I am the Spider-Man. Does whatever a spider can. Everything's going dark. I don't feel good, Mr. Stark. Oh no. There goes the Spider-Man.
No.
No. Hey, he's back. He's fine. He had Far From Home to come back to, so he's fine. And now he's got another movie coming out in December.
He's going to get his trilogy.
I don't know. Yeah, he's going to get a trilogy. Something Andrew Garfield didn't get.
What a flying shame that is.
What a flying shame that is. What a way to get started. So let's
Andrew Garfield stuck to Spider-Man.
Let us... Okay. All right. We'll get to that after we discuss... Let's start off by saying... let's start with Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. Here's my take on it. I think people praise the second movie as if it's the best Spider-Man movie that exists. I'm going to have to disagree. I rewatched it and I'm like, okay, the movie's only worth it for that one scene. That is it. There was the train scene. They love that, like the meme worthy scene, basically, in terms of that. And it's like, as a kid, I'm like I personally, I think the first movie is better than the second one, because I think it's a low. I think the villain was what I get. Maybe was there a motive? There was a motive. He basically made a machine that killed his wife, so he's going to make the machine again. Because the arms are making him do it. But then he takes control over his arms and he ends up destroying the machine that he recreated because Spider-Man or Peter Parker told him to do so. But I think there was a better plot in the first one. I mean, it was a generic Spider-Man intro origin story, but like, because...
Well, sure. Gotta do it.
Which is what I like about what they did with the whole Tom Holland thing, the Tom Holland Spider-Man thing, is that I am tired of... Can you stop killing Ben Parker? How many times do you have to kill him, man?
He's already dead. Fans.
You've killed him twice. What is with killing uncles for Spider-Man? First of all, like, I think it's just Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, you killed Miles Morales' uncle.
Just part of the character.
Oh my god! Wait, we're gonna. Okay, let's keep. We're gonna continue with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. But what is it? So I personally, people are like, "Oh man, the second movie is the best Spider-Man movie," and I'm just saying, I don't think that way. Now, is it better than the third movie? Obviously, if I were to rank them, it'd probably be 1, 2, and 3.
I think it just had the better. I think it had the better villains than the first one did. The first one just had Green Goblin.
It was just Green Goblin.
And his son or something like that.
I think I have a problem with having too many villains in a single movie. If that makes sense.
There was only 2 in Spider-Man 2, wasn't there?
There was
one.
It was kind of the origin of the young Green Goblin, because he now had his motive was to kill Spider-Man, but he didn't find out about his father being the Green Goblin until that movie. And then he became the Green Goblin in the third movie. And then you had the Green Goblin, Sandman, and Venom in that movie, which I think was like...
Sandman was in number 2 as well, wasn't he?
Who was?
Sandman.
No, he wasn't in 2.
No, it was just in 3.
In Sandman in the third movie, they made reference to the first movie being the one that ended up killing Uncle Ben. So Sandman was the one who ended up killing Uncle Ben, which we find out, which I think was an interesting plot, but it was kind of overshadowed with
kind of wasted with Venom,
edgy Peter Parker,
dancing Peter Parker, edgy Peter Parker, and edgy Eddie Brock, and edgy Harry Osborn.
That Eddie Brock was kind of...
It's hard to see like that Eddie Brock as not the guy from That 70s Show. That's all you can see in that.
You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
precisely.
But I think why do I keep forgetting his name?
Over.
The new Venom.
Oh,
Um,
I don't know the new Venom is.
Who's Eddie Brock?
No. The guy who plays him.
Oh, Tom Hardy. How do
I forget Tom Hardy? You're right. How do you forget Tom? His name's Tom Hardy. I like how Chris Pratt was like, Tom Holland was like, who's your favorite Tom H? Tom Hanks? Tom Hardy? Tom Hiddleston? Not Tom Holland? No. There's a lot of Tom H's, and I think that's ridiculous, but we'll get to that. Probably never. But yeah, you had the trilogy. They were supposed to be making more movies. Like the villain for the fourth movie was supposed to be Mysterio, and apparently this Mysterio, the person who was supposed to play Mysterio, made an appearance in every single one of the Spider-Man movies as somebody different. So I think the Mysterio that was supposed to play in the fourth Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie was in each of the Spider-Man movies as a different person. He played as a waiter in Spider-Man 3. He played as a vendor in the second one. And I think he played as a teacher in the first one, or I don't remember. No, the second one he was in the elevator with Spider-Man because Spider-Man couldn't use his web and he had to use the elevator to get down to the building. And it was Mysterio, the guy who was supposed to play Mysterio, standing next to him in the elevator.
this was a big lead-up scene.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like, oh yeah, Spider-Man, I was always there.
I'm watching you.
So like, yeah, they were supposed to do a fourth movie, but then they're like, nah, let's not. We're gonna hold off on that. We're gonna make a completely new Spider-Man series. Reboot. Sony, as I said, Sony can do whatever they want with Spider-Man, so they decided, let's try another Spider-Man series where we're gonna have new villains and all the likes. So they do Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. I don't think he was a terrible Spider-Man or Peter Parker. I just didn't like the movies he was set in, if that makes any sense.
So they didn't.
I think he was put in. I think there was good potential because Tobey Maguire was this like gloomy looking like Peter Parker, and that was like the first, second, and third movie where he was just depressing. But then he had a better, higher personality, but he did have a little bit of wine to it, a little bit of angst.
I feel like Andrew Garfield, like, he looked too old to be a high school student, is my thing, though.
So did Tobey Maguire, though.
Tobey Maguire was a high school student.
They didn't use him as a high school student?
Yeah, he was in the first movie.
Yes, he was, because remember the scene where he catches the tray?
Oh, yeah.
In the second movie, he was in college. And the third movie, he was in college.
You're right.
Yeah, because he was like, I'm going to move into an apartment to my own. And it was a crappy apartment. I'll get your rent when you fix this damn door. Right. Andrew Garfield, I think the first movie was okay.
That was the Green Goblin one, right?
No, the first movie was the lizard.
The lizard one, yeah.
Right.
Whatever it was.
Kind of a mediocre villain, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why.
B-list villain.
I don't know why it would be the lizard. I wish.
Isn't his name Killer Croc?
No, Killer Croc is Batman.
Yeah.
I think he's.
I thought
He's just the lizard. What?
I thought there were two Killer Crocs. There's one in Spider-Man and one that fought Batman. Because remember the one that was like the scientist that pretty much grew into a giant lizard?
Yeah. I think his Dr. Curtis Kirk Connors. His name is just the lizard.
Really?
Yeah, his name is just the lizard. I'm like, wow, very original villain name. Like
it is.
I used to have a Hot Wheels. I used to have a Hot Wheels thing that showed that the lizard, but on the back it said like it was a little truck thing. It said Killer Croc on it. That's why I was confused.
Was it? I don't know. Maybe he had several names, but I think lizard was just what he went with.
Go to that.
Spider-Man toy.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Did not.
Yep, it's just a lizard.
Just the
Yeah.
lizard. Killer Croc is as a Batman villain.
I thought that was okay. I kind of hate that they used a B-list villain for it, but
Is
what
it
are you gonna
the villain Butch League?
do? Butch League.
Have you heard of
The
that?
D-League.
It's literally all these like second tier like villains. Like you have like you have Venom as an A tier, and then you have like
Doc Ock is an A tier.
Doc Ock's A, Green Goblin's A tier.
Is
Hobgoblin, I'd say, is like someone you don't hear of. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Hobgoblin before.
Is Vulture an A tier or B list?
He's a B list.
Yeah.
Mysterio was technically a B list, but until they started putting them into more media because of the Sinister Six, they've become more popular villains. Like Rhino. Rhino is a B list.
Crazy.
Electro was a B list. Anybody from the
Yeah.
Sinister Six other than Doc Ock was
Why
a
did they
B list.
use two B list villains in the Amazing Spider-Man movies? I feel like that was
Electro and Rhino. Rhino wasn't even in the movie.
He was kind of like
he was
intermediate.
he was a setback in the first part of the movie, and then he was just there for the second. And you don't even get to see Spider-Man fight the Rhino.
right.
No.
That's what was
Mechan-
stupid. And it was a mechanical suit. It wasn't this big. I mean, it was a Russian dude, but it wasn't like a big, strong Russian dude stuck in a cybernetic suit. Because that was the story of Rhino, was that he gets stuck in this like this cybernetic Rhino suit, and he can't get out of it. So like Doc Ock, I'm going off the story in Spider-Man, the PS4 game, because that I love that. I can talk about how that story is just perfect
What is it?
all the way.
I can say one thing though. The Spider-Man in the PS4 game, the Peter Parker was a mix of every single Spider-Man looked like.
Right, until they remastered it to PS5.
Wait, Did they change his face?
They did a complete overhaul on because they had a new they were setting up for the Miles Morales Spider-Man game, because they got a new motion capture face. So they got somebody new to do. It's the same voice actor, it's a different motion capture face.
Interesting.
So, but the guy looks so much like Tom Holland.
Oh, great. That's wonderful.
And I'm like, because you play the game for the first time, and I'm like, oh yeah, this voice fits. But then you see the new person's face, and I'm looking at it, I'm like,
It's Tom Holland.
I have to get used. It's not like it is Tom Holland, but like it looks more like Tom Holland now.
They really did change him, didn't they?
If you're looking at it, like I can't whip it out right now and obviously show people, but like if you look it up, look up the comparison between Spider-Man PS4 and Spider-Man remastered onto the PS5.
The old one looks so better.
Yeah, I like the old one better.
You like the old one? I personally like the old one because I like that's what I connected with. That's what I was able to do. Why would you remaster his face? Is it because what the old motion capture guy wasn't available? Like what better thing could he have been doing that wasn't Spider-Man? Like seriously, you're the face of Spider-Man. I don't know what they were going with. He looks younger. With that, he has a baby face now.
He looks like they.
Brendan, he looks like you. I swear to God.
Which one? The old one. Or
The new one.
You guys just said how much you hated the old. Oh, all right, bye, guys.
No, I'm sorry. No.
That
No,
was
I
mean.
only hate it. I don't hate it. I just like the old one better. And I'm not. Oh my gosh!
The old
Stop.
one looks more unique.
Yeah.
You hate me.
He's giving me
I-
this sad face
No,
now.
What is it though? I can't say one thing. The PS4 game had the best like Aunt May.
Yes. Like it reminded me of my grandma. Like honestly.
Yeah, that's why I cried.
Oh my gosh! The only time in a video game where I cried. The only time. I've never cried in a video game, but when I saw that, and because like I was already in emotional turmoil because I loved the connection between Peter Parker and Doc Ock, and seeing them fight each other because you're fighting him. It like Doc Ock was basically this father figure, role model to Peter Parker, but then he ends up getting manipulated by his own, not
Yeah.
manipulated, but he was like,
His
he
brain was like-
was basically getting scoliosis, basically. And he was using these arms to help him move around, basically.
and the
And it was the cerebral, whatever science term it is.
what's his name? Elon Musk is making now the Neuralink, pretty much.
Yeah, because like Doc Ock was only Dr. Octavius was only interested in making prosthetics, like super cool prosthetics, but he ended up making these arms for himself, and he was only after. But like that ending sequence, they were so emotional towards each other, and then it's like, and then Peter Parker just leaves him. He just leaves them, and I'm already like, oh man, I can't hate him, because I was already like up almost in tears at that moment. But then I'm like, Peter Parker has to choose between saving the entire city and his aunt dying, and I'm like, no. And then the heart monitor like went flatlined, and I'm like, no. Just thinking about it, it's like, I hate it. Oh, it's like the game is beautiful.
So what is it? You want to know the worst part about it? That game for me was with the Aunt May thing.
What?
Is Aunt May in the game looked a hell of a lot like my grandma that passed away, like in 2016.
Oh.
So that just hit a spot at home, and I lost it. I couldn't do it.
She reminded me of like my grandma Hess. Like that's who she looked like to me. So now I'm like, this was a good version of Aunt May. She didn't look super old like in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. She didn't look young like the Tom Holland Spider-Man. Brendan's over there. He's just like, oh yeah, the new Aunt May. Happy Hogan had a thing for her too. Like, oh my god. Sheesh. She definitely looks more like an aunt, because all Aunt May has ever looked like is a grandma.
Yeah.
And it's like, is that what she's supposed to look like? Is she supposed to look like like an older sister, like 20 years older than her sister? Who like died in a plane crash or whatever origin story of the parents. You never get the origin story of the parents from Tobey Maguire Spider-Man or Tom Holland's, because you don't care. You already know his origin story. You already know Tom Holland's Spider-Man's origin story. Uncle Ben dies. He becomes Spider-Man by getting bit by a radioactive spider. We already know how it happens. Now it's just, but there is one problem I have with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Is I think it relies way too much on the MCU for context.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Like these movies don't stand alone at all.
I think Far From Home stands alone more. The problem is obviously Nick Fury and them, but I think that
you have the Skrulls, you have what's his face, Beck, who only got his start because of Iron Man, along with all the other people, and it's just Spider-Man's internal struggle is because, oh, I need to become the next Iron Man, but it's like, you shouldn't be the next. It's just that's the whole thing. Far From Home only exists because of the MCU. And Homecoming is the same way. That movie only exists because of events that happened in the MCU. Yeah. Like,
especially Iron Man's mistakes.
You have Iron Man's mistakes. You have the Battle of New York with the aliens. Yeah. Like, the villain Vulture took the the Jatari like alien wear and turned it into weapons, and it's like, okay, that was the MCU context. But it's like, if you like, you think about all these other origin movies, like Doctor Strange didn't rely too much on the rest of the MCU for context.
Ant-Man.
Like Ant-Man did need some.
Didn't need any.
Yeah, okay. Here's the thing. If you can take out the MCU parts, well, you still have the Falcon. The whole fight scene with the Falcon, they get the specific part. They made a mention. I mean, they only make but that's the thing. You can take
Like a
that
Manny
and replace it with something else. You don't need the Falcon in there. He's just kind of like, oh yeah, how do we get Ant-Man
How do we
into
get-
Civil War?
Yeah.
Basically. But it's like, if you can take these parts out little by little and it still be its own movie, then that makes sense. Because it doesn't rely on the rest of the movies for context. So like the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
In
I mean,
no context.
You
Other
didn't
than
you didn't
Thanos.
need, other than Thanos, but like you didn't know enough about Thanos to care.
Right.
You only got a glimpse of him at the end of Avengers.
Age of Ultron.
Yeah, he was no, but like
Yeah. Oh,
the first Guardians of the Galaxy came before Age of Ultron, so you had already seen what Thanos looks like. And this is when
They changed him so much before they actually put him in the movies.
right, he was supposed to be played by somebody else, but then they
Who,
got
Thanos?
Josh Brolin in there.
No, Josh Brolin's always been Thanos.
Not
other than
not in the
Avengers.
not in the first Avengers movie, but then they got Josh Brolin, but he looked like
Totally different.
like a tainted purple.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any no, it was a saturated purple.
I think the one in Age of Ultron probably looked the best out of all of them.
It was the same as Guardians of the Galaxy though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
color, same color
he-
scheme.
Guardians of the Galaxy was a little more bluish.
I think he was too purple for that.
I think it was the lighting.
Yeah, just the lighting. Just the starlight.
Lighting. Don't take seriously, boys.
You.
Reactions are that of a petty child. Anything he says is just like, ugh. Why has he got to speak in monologues? It's like, you talk way too much. But as I said, like, some of these origin movies don't rely heavily on the rest of the MCU for context. But Spider-Man needs the rest of the MCU to make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like that's the real issue I have with the new Spider-Man movies. I hope they change it around, because not a lot of MCU content has come out between Far From Home and this next movie that's coming out.
What is it called?
I think No Way Home.
No Way Home.
Well,
I think the problem is that now there's enough MCU stuff going around that it's almost like it's gonna be really hard to do anything that isn't already directly related to what's already happened.
I feel that's for the better though.
Yeah, I think it's easy enough to tie stuff together now, and now they can go back and look at all their plot holes and like, okay, let's tie these up with a nice little bow and connect it to future
But I
movies.
feel like now they'll focus more on, I hope so, they focus more on a story about Spider-Man rather than any other MCU characters kind of intruding onto his story. You know what I mean? Because right now he's been exposed. As far as the last thing we know is that he's been exposed.
Yeah.
That everybody now knows he's Peter Parker. Zendaya's back. Zendaya. It's like,
What does it even mean, Brendan? What you just did? What exactly is that? I never understood what it meant.
Honestly, I don't even know, dude.
I don't know. Obviously, we have the hots for Zendaya.
Okay, so the problem with No Way Home is that Benedict Cumberbatch has been casting it as Doctor Strange, and it's a lot.
Is Doctor Strange now this just new Tony Stark where he's moderating? Excuse me.
I hope not.
Where he's just moderating it, because it makes sense, because that's kind of what his job was in the comics.
The prevailing theory is that Spider-Man goes to Doctor Strange for help to conceal his identity again.
Mm.
That's the prevailing theory. Obviously, we don't know. We are never going to know until it comes out.
Isn't
But-
there an issue with Doctor Strange now? Since he gave up the stone, but now it's also destroyed. So he failed his duty to protect the stone by giving it up.
It's not as,
And it's getting destroyed.
his duty is to protect reality, and the only way he can protect reality is for it to be destroyed. Plus, I don't think the stones are per se destroyed. I think that I have my own theory about what happened.
Everybody's got their own theory about these stones, bro. But like,
because I mean, yeah, obviously, the ancient one said that the reality can't exist without the stones. So obviously they're still
So
somewhere.
destroying them
And
is
they haven't been destroyed. They're gone, reduced to atoms. So they could still be
they can like
recreated.
come back together. But like then what?
They still exist. They're just this. Right now, they're just this cosmic energy, basically.
So wait, what is it? So speaking of Doctor Strange and stuff, so heading back to WandaVision, remember they said that like the Scarlet Witch is stronger than the Supreme
Sorcerer.
Sorcerer? Is he the Supreme Sorcerer or is it someone else?
He's now
He
the
is.
Supreme Sorcerer because the Ancient
Sorcerer
One. The Ancient One was the Sorcerer Supreme. She
Yeah.
died, and now he took over the mantle. Because
So when they talk about in WandaVision, he is the Supreme Sorcerer, the Sorcerer Supreme, whatever.
Yeah, he is the Sorcerer Supreme.
Okay, I didn't know that was confirmed or not because from everything I was looking up, it's not 100% confirmed at all.
you may regret that. He put you face to face with the Master of the Mystic Arts. But yeah, and I know like people were talking about the whole multiverse of madness and bringing in the different types of Spider-Man, and there was rumors about Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire coming back for that movie. All that kind of stuff, and it's just like, man, do they have a plan for this next phase? I don't know what
No.
they want to do.
That's the thing, is that's why I'm kind of wary of fan theories right now, is because there's no direction for the
Like,
MCU
you
right
don't
now.
know
We
who
don't know.
the big bad is.
We didn't know until Avengers. So that was the 6th movie in the MCU.
Right
We
now,
didn't know who
we're technically on the second movie, and right now we have between now and you have maybe we'll be revealed of the big baddie in the Eternals movie, which is I have no idea who these people
high
are.
probability. They're a
I know they're
Subway
like
Demons.
Celestials, right? They're like not Sentinels, but like Celestials.
yeah, basically
They're basically like Ego, but like
better.
better.
Who is it?
Who knows?
I might know potential villain. I know he's supposed to show up in like the new Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but Adam Warlock,
Yeah.
like the main holder of stones.
The problem is that movie doesn't come out until like 2023.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, what if he is like I guess the next big villain? Because remember, he is the one that pretty much like was almost the original holder of the stone, the protector of them.
Right, but is he going to be? Well, he hasn't been created yet, or has he?
They're in the process of creating. Because remember, number 2,
Right.
they're like the chamber of Adam Warlock.
Right. So they haven't created him yet. He's just he's just in the process of being made.
He's working. They're working on him.
They're working on him, but he wasn't a bad
He's
guy.
not a bad guy. He's
was
like
he?
he's sort of like a neutral party. He's like the Sorcerer Supreme, where he's like just trying to keep things at a normal level. It's like this. He's like the Silver Surfer kind of character.
Silver
He's
Surfer.
more of a neutral character.
With
Who's
all
just
the
trying to keep
problems with
everything.
stones, though, he could go after like the new phase Avengers and everything like that, or pretty much contaminating the world, the universe.
How do you like not do Silver Surfer justice? I feel like you can't redesign Silver Surfer.
Right. It's like the same. Like
You
he's
have to keep him the same. He can look chrome or whatever. He has to be Silver Surfer. But then you also have Galactus. I need them to do Galactus justice because the last movie he was in was the second Fantastic Four movie. All you got was kind of a weird like tease silhouette shadow looking figure, but basically what Galactus was this huge space cloud that was going to devour Earth.
Who would
Right.
play him though?
You don't necessarily have to have anyone. People wanted Mark Hamill to be in the villain of the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie. And I'm like, Mark Hamill, who are you gonna play? Who are you gonna be? He plays the Joker in the MCU. That makes no sense. I mean, that would be interesting to see Mark Hamill in the MCU. I mean, people want it. I want it.
I want it.
I don't know who he'd play though. Hell, he could play Mephisto for all I care. I think he would do a pretty darn good job of Mephisto.
I don't want to talk about Mephisto, man.
Another fan theory that was.
Oh my goodness.
You realize how many fan theories were debunked?
Yeah.
Not a
I
single one came true.
Exactly, and I'm kind of happy. I feel like it kind of like was like.
I think it's a matter of like, okay,
you.
there's not a lot of fan theories with Falcon and the Winter Soldier right now, other than like, oh yeah, there's the potential of the Young Avengers and whatever. But you can't really create a bunch because this time it's like there's less potential for how much they can add. Because right now you have the Falcon, you have the Winter Soldier, you have
Do you want to hear the fan theory?
Sharon Carter. What's the fan theory? What's the
one that I was like that like carries something that could carry some weight?
What?
Sharon Carter's the power broker.
Oh damn!
I see, and I'm telling you, these fan theories are
Oh,
dangerous.
I hate you. If that comes true, I'm gonna hate you. I'm gonna hate that.
It's like, oh well, that could actually happen, and now you're just like, well, fuck, what happens if it doesn't happen?
Now remember, the other two have not seen the episode yet,
It's
Oh
fine.
shit.
It's
I
fine.
mean,
so they don't know who the power broker is. We don't even know who the power
I
broker
know who
is.
the,
I mean,
I
no
know,
one knows who the power broker is right now.
I know what the power broker itself is. I know that much.
I am starting to finally be like, okay, I don't like the the hand group, the
Oh,
the flag.
well, I think what they did in this last episode. So Gerald and Bailey, cover your ears. But like, what they did when they blew up the building, I think that like it was her that did it, and they're now thinking like, oh, now the other followers are like, oh shit, we didn't want to do this, we didn't want to get violent, we just wanted to make a world.
It's like
better
this is the
place.
only language that people understand is.
And now she's
violence.
becoming too extremist for her followers, and I feel like that's where it's their downfall.
Like I've now gotten to a point where I'm like, okay, I don't really sympathize with her because, first of all, I already thought she was annoying. I already thought she was annoying.
Yeah, the problem is they actually the Donna, the whole Donna subplot was actually cut from the show because of COVID. They had to like shrink everything. There's a whole like they had to cut a bunch from WandaVision. They had to cut a bunch from Falcon and Winter Soldier. But I think part of her backstory was cut.
I wasn't necessarily interested in her backstory to begin with. Even if they gave her one, I would have been like, all right.
I think that
Good
they're doing a
5-minute
good
sequence.
job with her.
So
Like they're making
far.
her bad enough to be a villain, but like understand, like relatable to the point where you like understand where she's coming from.
I understand where she's coming from. I just like, I don't know. I find it hard to like her. It's like Alan. What?
What is the new Captain America's name in the show?
John Walker.
John Walker.
Gotcha. At first, when I was watching the second episode, I thought like, remember the guy that attacked like in the bank? When they're robbing the bank, the main guy that was like pretty much threw the like Air Force soldier or whatever on the ground and knocked him out and whatever.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe he could have been that guy, but I'm not 100% sure anymore.
Interesting.
He does seem like he has like this like the super serum, the superhuman serum.
I don't think he
Super
does.
serum.
I don't think he shows it. He hasn't showed it in any of the fights that he had with anyone else.
So the story behind, I was first of all, because like I don't know who did the poster, but someone had done a poster for, it was like a teaser poster for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I saw it, and I saw the little Captain America in the center, and I was looking at it. I'm like, it was black and red. So I'm like, where have I seen that before? And I'm like, and someone said like, oh no, that's just Captain America. Like, no, that is somebody else. So I looked it up on, we have this lovely like 2-inch thick book, Marvel Encyclopedia, and I was flipping through the pages to see if I could find it. And sure enough, I looked at it. I'm like, that's who it looked like. His name was the U.S. Agent. Like his Marvel character name was the U.S. Agent. And I looked at the name, and it was John F. Walker.
And he's supposed to be like the bad mantle, the one that goes berserk as Captain America.
He takes the mantle of Captain America after Captain America retires, and he takes up the mantle because nobody else decides to do it. So it's the government saying, hey, we got a new Captain America. But it's the U.S. agent. The outfit was like, but the stripes look the same. And I'm like, I was right. And when they revealed it to him, I'm like, once they revealed his name, I'm like, yes, I was right. I knew exactly who it was. I'm like, it was John Walker, and I'm like, he's the U.S. agent. He's not Captain America, and I think he might go rogue. I think he might be like, I want to kill Bucky and Falcon.
His character in the comic though, like pretty much went berserk after like losing his parents. It went completely berserk and pretty much came like, I guess like a villain, but wearing the Captain America mantle, but changed his name. I don't remember exactly what it was called.
Interesting.
Like but yeah, I think he's definitely a bad guy, for sure. I think.
I think because like you hear about Russell. I forgot his first name, but he is Kurt Russell's son. You hear about him getting death threats because he plays such a terrible job. No, here's the thing though. Why? He's doing a great job of people hating him because that's his job. You're not supposed to like the new Captain America. Nobody's supposed to like him. And if he's doing a great job of being this like just he because like the thing, not the theory, but like the analysis that someone was like, he acts more like Tony Stark than he does Steve Rogers as Captain America, where he's a showboat basically. And he's got this attitude, and he's got this this ego.
You know what it is? He's a good soldier, not a good man.
He's not a good man.
He's a perfect soldier, not a good man.
Right. That's the thing. Yeah. And when he said have you ever jumped on a grenade? Have you ever jumped in a grenade before? It's like, yeah, several times. My helmet has a reinforced thing where I could just put it on top of it.
Wire.
I'm like,
yeah, but he
cut the wire. That's right. Yeah.
Like Tony Stark would do.
But that's the thing. Why are people so mad at him for doing such a great... If you hate a character...
You hate an actor for playing a character.
You can't... The actor's doing a great job. You don't hate the actor. You hate the character. If you hate the character, the actor's doing a great job. It's like Dolores Umbridge from Harry Potter. I hate her.
Everyone hates
her. But I think she did a great job of making me hate the character.
Oh, yeah. That's the point.
That's the point. And it's like, but there's obviously we have that difference between, do you hate the character or do you hate the actor who plays the character? Is the actor playing the character wrong? That's the thing though. So,
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man.
Wow, we really
backtrack to Spider-Man. Because I was talking about the context of the MCU and how the new Spider-Man movies rely way too much on the MCU for context.
Right. I think you're right.
But I'm like, I gotta say, honestly, I have no idea what this next movie is going to be about. I don't even know who the villain is. Or villains plural, if they decide to do the multiple villains route again.
I wonder, who's the one that haven't really shown?
Out of any of them, I'd have to say...
Mr. Negative.
He's only been in one thing.
Yeah.
And that's the game. You don't see him a lot. If they put Mr. Negative in there, it's just like...
Well, according to all of the fun IMDb's...
You could do the...
Like, Jamie Foxx's Electro and Alfred Molina's Doc Ock are going to be in it. So it might be a combination of the villains from the other movies when the whole multiverse bullshit happens.
You can practically do a Sinister Six at that point. Because you have Electro, you have Doc Ock, you have Shocker, you have Vulture, you have Mysterio. Is
it Scorpion?
Scorpion, that's right, he was in that movie. You basically have the Sinister Six right there. Was there somebody else that I'm missing? I don't know. But that's your Sinister Six right there. You could add other villains to that if you wanted to, but if they're gonna do Sinister Six with that, I would love to see a live action Sinister Six movie. I think that would be great. But why would you throw in two villains from different universes? Just to
do it?
Just to do it. Maybe they screwed up the realities, and now the realities are just like, where am I?
Do you think they're going to add Miles Morales into the new Spider-Man at all, or no?
They already have. That's what I was going to talk about
Oh.
earlier. Okay?
Okay.
You know what I was like, oh, I don't want to talk about that quite yet. But
Yeah.
I was going to talk about this in terms of like Miles
Deleted scene.
It was okay, so yes, it was a deleted scene. You know the one guy, it was like Donald Glover. Donald Glover in Homecoming. He
Yeah.
was doing an arms deal with these guys, and eventually he gets he gets webbed to his trunk, and he does the activate interrogation mode scene. He's trying to get information out of the Donald Glover's character. That is Miles Morales' uncle, the guy who the guy who's supposed to play Prowler.
He refers to his nephew in that scene, but in the deleted scene, he's calling him, and he says, "Hey Miles, I need something from you," or something like that.
Right.
Must be the Prowler?
I believe so.
He's
believe
not
Oh my
officially the Prowler.
god.
But yeah,
it's an uncle, but I'm like, okay, awesome. But then I realized, I'm like, wait a minute. What if Miles Morales did, because like Miles Morales is super young in this movie. Like he's like a kid. But what if this was after the blip?
Oh.
It's 5 years later. Tom Holland is still like young because he got dusted away, but Miles Morales didn't. He didn't get dusted away.
Dusted.
I'm just gonna say
Blip.
right.
Blip.
He didn't get blip. He stayed. He grew older, but Peter Parker like didn't grow at all. So now it's like, so maybe he's like 13 now, and Tom Holland's only like 16
15.
or 17. So that's the thing now. It's like, what if they set that up in the next movie? What if
That'd be
Miles
cool.
Morales is in this next movie, but like as like an end credit scene or even like a small cameo? That would be cool. I think that would be cool. You can even put Prowler as part of the Sinister Six if you really wanted to, because the Sinister Six is interchangeable. You can put anybody in the Sinister Six as long as there's 6 villains. Because Sandman's supposed to be in there, Rhino's supposed to be in there, Mr. Negatives can be in there, but now you have Shocker, Elektra, it's all these villains, all these random. I think even Green Goblin can be in there.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You can get any villain to be in the Sinister Six, except Venom. I don't remember. I don't think there was a version of the Sinister Six where Venom was in there.
No. Venom's kind of. Venom's not a hero. Isn't he like an anti-hero or something like that?
He has become more of an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Because of the more versions of Venom that they have. Because you have
Then you have
the
Carnage with a straight villain.
Carnage is straight Carnage.
Carnage.
Because like you have him, you have Anti-Venom, which is like the white and black, like reverse colors basically. But
Yeah. Who's the strongest symbiote though? I don't remember who it was. What was his name?
I know there was the one in Venom who they referred to as the strongest symbiote. I don't remember his name. It was like Riot or something.
All black.
All black.
Toxin.
Toxin? Strongest. Carnage
Toxin's
is.
number 7.
Carnage.
according
In that one ranking.
Ranking.
to the
They
10
just
most
call
CBR, according to CBR, which who knows what that comic book review or something like that.
Yeah,
powerful.
yeah, the strongest one is all. Oh, that's why.
What?
Symbiote took over Galactus. That's why.
Oh, hell yeah. Bro, I want to see that.
Yeah.
Oh no!
All black was the first symbiote in history created by the god Null using this divine power of the Celestial. Bonded with Gore, the god killer, and did stuff like that. Yeah, and went to bond with Galactus, turning him into Butcher of the Worlds. Later, Ego.
Ooh,
That's why.
Wow.
interesting. So if
That'd
you're a
be fun.
symbiote powerful enough to take over Galactus, then oh yeah, then you have to be the
Then-
strongest symbiote.
Didn't take him over. It bonded with Galactus.
Bonded. Oh.
Well, it's a symbiotic relationship. So
Venom.
Yeah.
Goddamn Venom, 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 and all they-
Venom is number 6.
Venom.
We have Toxin.
Isn't there an Agent Venom?
who knows, dude?
Maybe. Let me scroll through this list real quick.
Agent Venom comes in the. I think it was the Ultimate Spider-Man show. Was Agent
Is there-
Venom
yeah.
came from Flash Thompson?
Yep, Flash Thompson had one of the most. Oh,
Yeah.
Flash Thompson was on the. Oh fuck yeah. Wow.
Flash Thompson was what? Who?
Remember in like Amazing Spider-Man, Flash Thompson, the guy who
Yeah, I know.
the basketball. Pretty much, he becomes Agent Venom.
So in
Flash
terms
Thompson's
of
kind of
Tom Holland's Spider-Man, Flash Thompson is the popular, like curly-haired kid.
Yeah, he's that.
He's that really annoying. He's that really like
the one
annoying.
who's
popular-
live streaming the entire time during. Far From
That's
Home.
Flash Thompson.
Yeah.
He went from being like a jock to being like now he's a popular nerd or a popular smart guy, basically. Which is like, wow, way to really. I feel like they definitely went a different way on the stereotype here, but I guess it makes sense in terms of today.
Right.
Where the bullies are the nerds now. It's like, you're going to be bagging my groceries, and I'm going to be a top programmer. You hear that, world? I'm going to be... I mean, I look like... I mean, look
What is it? The strongest, I guess, symbiote that's like just regular symbiote is like ZZXZ.
ZZXZ.
Yeah, pretty much.
Zixi.
It's just anyone it attaches to, it just fries their brain and takes over their entire body,
Nice.
adding it to his power.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
but
kinda
I want to see what they do with Venom and Spider-Man.
And
I don't know if they'll make the connection with the Venom movies and the MCU, but I seriously doubt it. But if they do, that'd be great.
Be cool.
Um,
I'd be down for
They
it.
should.
you know what we didn't talk about a lot was I
Into
mean,
the Spider-Verse.
we talked about Into the Spider-Verse more on our last topic, though. Because we
Yeah.
talked about animation, how
We're talking about it in terms of animation rather than in terms of.
in
Spider-Man.
terms of a Spider-Man movie, though, I think it was great. I think people got tired of the whole Peter Parker because like they even made fun of it, where it's like, all right, let's do this one last time. My name is Peter Parker, and for the last 20 years, I've been the one and only Spider-Man. And then you get bitten by a radioactive spider. My uncle, I had to bury all that stuff. It's like, I like how they're making fun of this because now it's like, because it's at this point it's a running joke.
right.
If you think about it, it's like this is a running joke, where it's just like, but now we're getting a new origin story, a new Spider-Man. We're finally getting the origin story of Miles Morales because we never seen that before, and I think they executed that perfectly, or not perfect. Yeah, you know what? I'll say perfect. I'll say perfectly. We'll just say perfectly.
They did a great job.
I think they did a really good job because like I had never seen Miles Morales in a Spider-Man movie. I'd never even seen a Miles Morales Spider-Man. Like they made mention to him in some shows, but like I had never like invested time into watching something with Miles Morales in
The
it.
strongest Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's potentially stronger than Peter Parker because he's got invisibility,
and-
lightning.
Yeah.
I'm like, where did these come from? What kind of radioactive spider did you get bitten by? Where did this
Wasn't
come
it
from?
generated by what was his name? Osborn. Like remember Osborn was like mutating him, I think, and that's why.
He did that. That was in the video game, but I don't know what happened in the movie though. I have to play the game now because I didn't realize that they had the game on PS4 because I thought it was just a PS5 exclusive, but they have the game on PS4, and I'm like, I need more money so I can get the PS5, even though I want because I want to try the remaster. Like I want to play the Spider-Man remaster.
Mhm.
Like that's what I want to do. That's what I want. But yeah, for the video game, it was because Miles Morales snuck into the Osborn. No, what happened? I forgot how it happened.
He was just like the reason why he's electricity and invisibility. It was just a different engineered spider. That's all it was.
Right.
That's the only thing. It
Were
was
they
just
trying
a
to make
slightly
another
different-
Spider-Man or something? Because like, why would they have done that again?
Who knows?
maybe or trying to gain the powers of Spider-Man and like it could have escaped or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That'd be
That could
interesting.
have been like
That
all the
that could be the
one
case.
possible one.
But what yeah, but I think was it because they also had villains that you don't really. They also had B tier like Tombstone. Tombstone is very B tier list. Kingpin should be
They
A
didn't
tier.
think of anything.
Kingpin is A tier technically, but like he's underused. I think they're now putting him into like a more Spider-Man stuff. Like, cause like you had him in Spider-Man PS4 as
Into the Spider-Verse.
right, but he wasn't the main villain though. He was the main villain in Spider-Verse, but not in Spider-Man PS4.
Intro villain.
What?
In Spider-Man PS4, he was the intro villain.
He was the intro villain, and then he got introduced to the real villains.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But you also had a different version of Doc Ock, which I think was great.
Yeah.
Ugh, something about smart MILFs. Oops, sorry. I'm sorry. We're not gonna talk
Just
about
get past that. Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Whoa.
what.
What?
Hey,
Where did that come from?
Where come from?
Camden, I'm not playing this game.
What game are you playing?
Camden, where did that come from?
What? I think that the female Doc Ock was attractive.
Oh, yeah. You just said that.
That's what I was saying.
You just said smart.
Gwen
Bill.
Stacy
That's
was
what you
also
said.
attractive. I don't care if they were cartoon characters.
How to make it creepy?
You're just gonna keep going, and you want to be like, eh.
I
I
want to
didn't know
know
what you were
how
talking about.
attractive these cartoon characters are for you. And it's like, I'm sorry that I'm attracted to these cartoon characters.
It's called hentai, and it's
Oh my god, no. No, but like, I love how Gwen Stacy looks in that movie. I like
You're
what.
attracted to her.
Yeah, and I think I'm attracted to her for the wrong reasons now, but you know, that's a whole different thing. But
What do you mean the wrong reasons?
nothing inappropriate. It's just IRL experiences. Let's just say that she looks like one of my. She looks like one of my exes now. I hate myself. Anyway, but other villains, you have a very interesting take on Scorpion. Who else was there though? What other villains did they put in there? You had Prowler, you had Scorpion, you had Doc Ock, you had Kingpin.
Norman Osborn was Green Goblin or Hobgoblin or one of the two.
There was the Green Goblin in there, wasn't he? He was a very, very different version of Green Goblin. You had Chris Pine as the Peter Parker of that universe.
Yeah.
Guess what kind of tree it is? It's Chris Pine.
It's Chris Pine.
It's Chris Pine.
Oh my god.
But yeah.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Great stuff.
Good silence too. Now I think we should take this time to reflect on the greatness that is
Stanley?
a perfect way to wrap up. And indeed is to talk about Stanley. Let us talk about our favorite cameo from Stanley.
Tony Stank.
You love Tony Stank? I
Tony Stank.
agree. I really like that. I think the ones where he actually like interacts, like talks more.
Yeah.
I
sure.
think my favorite cameo that he makes is in Spider-Man 2.
Which one?
The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Where
Like,
I think it's the second one actually. Where Spider-Man like is walking down the street, he looks at like a theater thing, and I guess it's like, oh, Spider-Man, we need Spider-Man, and then Stanley walks up next to him and he says, you know, I guess one person can make a difference. Nuff said. Walks away.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then what's funny is that on the license plate of the car he was driving in Endgame, it said "Nuff said." I'm like, oh,
Oh, what is it? I think my favorite has to be the one in Age of Ultron when he's the veteran. Say, I can take alcohol. You're just being a wussy.
It was not
And then
meant
he's
for
carried
mortal.
out.
It was not meant for mortal men. Either was Omaha Beach, Blondie. Stop trying to scare us. Come on.
And then they carried him out.
Excelsior. I think that one's great. I like that
I
one.
love it.
And
Yeah,
that's
that's
why
really-
Captain America couldn't have been Stan Lee, because he can't get drunk.
You're right.
Problem solved.
That was the thing. Stanley was supposed to be the old Captain America in Endgame, but they felt like that would have been too forced. My opinion, I
Yeah.
felt like that could have been too forced. But
I think it would have made a lot of sense.
it would
Like,
make
was-
sense, but like I felt like that's pushing it.
But what is it?
Yeah.
Also, I think it was pretty much like for at least for Chris Evans. That was a very hard burden and a big honor to take on. Especially it was planned to be Stan Lee. After Stan Lee's passing, he had to be himself as older. I feel like that was a lot on him, like a lot.
But they filmed this like a year before after a year before they came out, because they filmed Infinity War and Endgame like simultaneously, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that's correct.
Because that's why it's like a part 1 and a part 2 technically.
But I thought Stan Lee passed away during the filming of all that?
He died like November of the year that Infinity War came out.
Endgame came out.
Before
Endgame came out 2019, so yeah.
So it's probably done filming in 2018.
Yeah, he was able to do a cameo for that movie.
He was able to do a cameo for Captain
Marvel too. He basically puts his thing down and then he puts his thing back up. I thought that was kind of cute. He's just he puts it down and he just smiles and he's like, oh, and the if you watch Captain Marvel on Disney Plus, you will this was already done, but like they did a Stan Lee tribute, like the Marvel intro, the Marvel logo that they show, this Marvel Studios logo, all the sequences are all of Stan Lee.
That was in the theaters too.
That's what I'm saying. I know it was in theaters too, but like if you want to see that again, you can now watch it. You can watch it on Disney Plus. Cool. You can watch because like I remember getting home one night from working at Kroger and they were blasting the Marvel intro theme, and all I see is Stan Lee, and I'm standing there crying because I'm already like about to commit seppuku from work. And now you're saddening me with this Stan Lee crap, and I'm like, no.
All right, man.
He made cameos in the X-Men movies, didn't he?
Yeah,
every single Marvel movie.
Nice suit, zip it, Stan Lee. But that was a trailer. That was a trailer, though. He was the DJ in the first movie, but he didn't make a cameo in the second one.
Yeah,
no, he was the DJ in the second one.
No, he was the DJ in the first one.
He was on a billboard.
Was he on the billboard in the second one? You're right. He wasn't on
a billboard. He was on a billboard. That was the only cameo he wasn't in, like fully in.
Because that movie came out in 2018, right? Or was it 19? The first Deadpool movie came out in 2016.
It came out right after Endgame or Infinity War.
The first Deadpool did?
Yeah, the second Deadpool. It was 2018.
Did it?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I remember because it was the summer of Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
It was Infinity War, Deadpool, and then the Sicario movie.
No, but then if it was the summer of Josh Brolin, he would have been the second movie that came out after Infinity War.
I'm talking about the second one.
I'm talking about the first one. When did the first one come out? I think it was 2016.
I think it's 2016.
Oh my lord.
Yeah. I think he was busy with something else during that, so they just put him on a billboard.
Maybe. No.
I like how the children nods to him. Like how it was, I can't remember which episode of WandaVision, but they had his birthday on the license plate of the opening credits.
Aww. WandaVision, WandaVision.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, like what do you do for cameos now? You almost can't. You can do like subtle references to stuff, but you can't like
that might have to be
have him in anything.
Mm-hmm.
I swear, if they ever CGI him, I'm going to boycott.
What is it? I did like.
Going to boycott.
This is going back to a different thing, but I did like in Big Hero 6, he was the father.
He was the dad. Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
I
nice.
wear them front. I wear them back. I wear them inside out and do it all over again.
Oh yes,
a good Stan Lee moment, but it's like now it's like he was even in DC. He even made a DC cameo in the Teen Titans Go movie.
Did he?
He did. He was like, oh, I'm here for another cameo. Wait a minute, this is a DC movie. I can't be in a DC movie. And then they're doing like a car chase scene with the Justice League. And then he comes back and he's like, I don't care if it's a DC movie. I love cameos. I also love how in the Lego Marvel game, you know how they have like citizens in peril or like students in peril. They have Stan Lee in peril. So you're saving. He's like, help! I made another cameo. Thanks for saving me, heroes. Excelsior. Great conversation.
said.
Yeah, we really covered a lot of ground because obviously we had a good grasp on Marvel. You think about it, we've basically grown up with Marvel.
Yep.
Like since 2000 and I want to say as early as 2010 for me, where the first Thor movie came out and then you had Captain America. So I was like 10 years old. Now, now you can do the math. It's like I was 10 years old when Thor came out. I first watched it, and now I'm like, you grow up with that, and then you watch it end, and you watch Endgame, and it's like, wow, just wow. You invest yourself into all these movies, and then you think about how much Stan Lee did.
Yeah,
all that stuff. He created these characters. He created most of these characters. So there you go. We're gonna end this episode by saying Excelsior, rip Stan Lee.
Yep.
Love the man. We wouldn't even be talking about this without him. He left behind a great legacy. That's all I have to say.
agreed.
But to kind of wrap on that note, I want to say that next topic that we'll be talking about next week will be the opposing team of Marvel, the competitors. We'll be talking about the DC universe.
The better one, in my opinion.
Gerald loves DC more than Marvel.
I love it.
I want to say this before we wrap this up, is that it's weird how I like the Marvel universe more than I like the DC universe, but I like Batman more than the entirety of Marvel, if that makes any sense.
It's fair.
I think it's just the dark essence of DC. That's better.
Maybe they have a better grasp on certain things than Marvel does, and Marvel has a better grasp on making movies than DC does. But we'll obviously get into that on the next episode of the podcast, where the next topic will be all about DC. But on that note, we wish everyone a wonderful day. Oh, whatever time of day you're listening to this, it doesn't matter. But tune in next time, and Excelsior.